Just in Sub-Saharan Africa, we have around 49 countries with a population size of 1.1 billion people. Half of this population are poor, according to the Multidimensional Poverty Index 2019. The other day, I was listening to Jordan Peterson, a Canadian author, psychologist, probably the best speaker in our generation, as he was explaining about a study that was done on a starving rat. To be honest, I learned a lot from it. And that study gives me a different perspective of how we should not just see poverty as a bad thing, but also as a motivation to push us forward and go for that goal or dream that we want. So they place the starving rat and put food in front of him. They attach a spring on his tail to check the force he's going to use to pull and go for that food that he wants. Then after, they blow the smell of a cat. And we all know how the rat is afraid of a cat. Just by getting the smell signify danger. So going for that food that he really wants and then running away from that thing that he's scared of are two motivational force. And if we combine them, that rat will be super motivated and faster to go for that food that he really wants. So what did I learn from this study? We should not just go for that dream, that goal, or anything we desire, but also we must fear and be mindful of anything that will limit or stop us from achieving that goal. In this case, poverty. We must be afraid of poverty because it can restrict us from our goal. And it can also serve as a motivation to push us forward. But how can poverty serve as a motivation? Someone might be asking. Okay, motivation comes from something that we want. It can be a goal, dream, or anything you desire. Something that we do not want. I give you an example of poverty. Of course, nobody wants poverty, right? And also, most of the time, motivation comes from pain or something we are deprived of. I will give you my own personal example. I came from an extreme poor family. So when I was in primary school, I was kicked out of class because my parents did not pay my school fees. So I was sad, crying. And then I went home, I explained to my father. And I will never forget this. And even if I try to forget, I won't. My father said to me, listen, I will never contribute anything that has to do with education in this house because my parents did not give me education and I have no value for education. He said the same thing to my elder brother. Of course, he ended up drop out of school. But for me, because my father deprived me education, that pain, I use it as a motivation to go and get this thing called education. And at the end, I achieved it. I'm the only person in the entire family to have degree. Same goes to poverty. We all know the kind of things we are deprived of because we are poor. The amount of pain we are going through when we are in poverty. No choice, no freedom, segregation, discrimination, the feeling of inferiority. So that alone should serve as a motivation to say, you know what? Yes, I was born poor. It's not my fault. But I'm here to change my story. I'm taking responsibility of my own life. I don't want to die in poverty. I don't like this thing called poverty. I need to run away from it because it can limit my potential. And I'm here to break that chain. But again, motivation alone cannot take us to our goal or dream. We have to do the work. That's the reality. You see, I will never blame any one of us because we are poor. No. We've habituated and become oblivious to most of the habits, behavior that's keeping us in poverty. We've used to them. We're unaware. And we can only break through when we realize and try to avoid those things. Things like our BS, belief system, our thoughts, the way we think, the habits, behavior, excuses, the mindset, blaming, people pleasing. We need to avoid all those things. Charlie Munger, who was an entrepreneur, a billionaire, said, all I want to know is where I'm going to die. So I will never go there. If we don't know that this is the problem, then how can we solve the problem? And that is why realization or awareness is key in solving any problem. And one way I think from my experience we can get realization or awareness is through observation, observing people. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who came from a very poor family, but as of now is doing extremely well in business. At first I was like, he's so lucky. God have destined him. But I start to notice something from him. He start to change the kind of people he's surrounding himself with. He hates excuses. If he say, I'm going to do this, he's going to do it. Regardless of the challenge. He will try his best. And he never blames anybody for any challenge. He always takes responsibility. Then I start to say, oh, that is the difference between that guy and me. That is one. Another way to get realization or awareness is by asking ourselves questions and answer them honestly. No, I mean honestly. We don't need to lie to ourselves. That reminds me of the 39th president of the United States of America, the late Jimmy Carter, as he was questioning his faith. He said, if I was tried for being a Christian, will I be convicted? That's a profound question, right? I would like to ask myself questions like, are my beliefs, thoughts, habits, behavior, blaming, excuses, are they leading me towards my goal or dream? Are my action, values guiding me towards the kind of person I want to be? We just need to answer them honestly. And that is where realization and awareness comes from. And that is where solution comes from. You see, if we can only able to see poverty as something to be afraid of and try to avoid all those things that will keep us in poverty, I promise you, you will see how motivated and hungry we will become to go for that goal or dream that we want. Look, I'm sure we all deserve a better life. So let's go for it. Again, it's going to take time. But let's forget about the time. Let's focus on our steps. Despacito.